What's going on, Bud City, and happy Friday. We are taking on the Utah Jazz tonight, our third game of our four-game homestand. I'm Erin Pitzenberger for Hornets.com. That is Matt Ruchinsky, and this is the HornetsFanshop.com pregame show. Welcome in, everybody, on YouTube and on Facebook. If you haven't already, hit that like button, share this. We're looking forward to having some new fans joining us. Matt, welcome aboard today.
Yep.
What is the game day special?
Not a new fan here. Been doing this for a little bit, but we encourage all of you new fans to continue to follow us on all of our stuff. It's been great what Erin does, especially on social media. Make sure you're following all that.
Thank you.
But we've got the 25% off of all Jordan brand gear today on HornetsFanshop.com. If you missed the Black Friday specials, make sure you're getting on now. 25% off Jordan brand gear. We know that stuff is not cheap. It's good stuff, though. It's great quality merchandise. This is a chance to get it at a discount, get it sent here for the holidays.
Yes, not only that, but today is also the last day at the brick and mortar the Hornets fan shop here in Spectrum Center, the last day to take advantage of all of the Black Friday deals they have going on. So if you're coming to the game tonight, make sure to get here early or head over there during halftime and get a handful of gifts.
Yeah, I mean, it's been great stuff. They've been doing different stuff every game, too, so it's been nice to see the kind of items that they're putting out there. They're the things that fans want to do. Last game, I know it was 50% off a hooded sweatshirt. Right now, my kids are big into hooded sweatshirts, and when you can get those things for like $25, that's a huge get, so make sure you stop by the fan shop.
No doubt. And so if you're here tonight, we're looking for 3 in a row here at Spectrum Center. Matt, we're 8-3 at home right now. I love it.
Love it.
It's great. Coming off of a win against Atlanta on Wednesday, what did you notice during Wednesday night's game?
That we saw the team we wanted to see come out against the Hawks. This was a team that we saw them fail a little bit on Sunday when they played in Atlanta, had a tough time, came out strong, and then allowed the Hawks to come back. This time, we came out, played well, but closed the first quarter strong, closed the second quarter strong, led by a guy like Cody Zeller, who scored 10 out of our last 13 points in the second quarter. Good to see different guys committing themselves to improving, to making commitments to also getting better with inserting themselves into the offense and really showing that we've got other people who can score out there. Cody Zeller's becoming one of those guys. He was being extremely aggressive. I like to see that from Cody. Another guy who was being aggressive, MKG. Too aggressive early on. 3 falls in 2 minutes. That's insane. MKG knows he's got to be better than that. Didn't get much run in the first half, but came in the second half and really made an impact. Much like Cody did at the end of the second quarter, MKG killed it at the end of the third quarter in that little run that we made that kind of put things over the top in that 10-1 run. You
and I were talking about this on Wednesday. On Sunday when we took on the Hawks, we were outscored with points in the paint, 58-28, and it was almost like the script was flipped. On Wednesday. We outscored them 62-38. What was the biggest difference maker from Sunday's game to Wednesday?
I think these guys took it personal. I really do. I think these guys looked at it and said, we got abused. We did. Coach brought it up in the postgame, said that's the story of the game. The amount of points they had in the paint, how easy it was for them to get to the rim. Everybody took it personal and really buckled down defensively. We won this game playing good defense. We lost that game in Atlanta because we couldn't play defense at all. So message sent, message received. These guys got it. Let's continue it for the rest of this homestand.
Cody actually said that during the game, during halftime. He said, message received. He didn't play so well early in the first quarter on Wednesday, but he came back. He finished with a season-high 19 points. What did you like from him and his aggressiveness on the court?
That's it. I mean, if Cody's playing aggressive and it seems like he's playing with more confidence, when Cody gets the ball at the free throw line and decides to attack the rim, you're sitting there going, is he going to make it? You know, Cody's usually a back-to-the-basket type player, but I like how he's been driving to the rim. I like how he's been playing off that high pick and roll with these guys. It's been working tremendous with Cody Zeller in a game like Wednesday night. Let's continue to do that, especially when maybe a guy like Kemba's shots aren't falling. Get the other guy on the end of that pick and roll.
Now I'm going to read a tweet that we had from Sam Purley, one of our content writers here for Hornets.com, and he said that the Hornets are now one of 5 teams currently top 10 in the NBA in both offensive and defensive efficiencies. And we're next to the Bucks, the Raptors, the Nuggets, and the Mavericks. What do you have to make of that?
That means that right now the Hornets are one of the best teams in the NBA if you look at things statistically. Although we're only 11-10 right now, we know we've had some of those tough road losses that could have been wins, should have been wins, and we could be sitting at something like 14-7 right now when you really look at some of these games. We're playing great on both ends of the ball. What efficiency shows is that it doesn't matter what style of play you're playing, what pace you're playing at. This is kind of evens the playing field for everyone. So when you look at the efficiency ratings, that shows you who the best teams are. The goal of teams is to be in the top 10 on both offensive and defensive efficiency. If you're in the top 5 in both, you're being one of the best teams in the league right now.
It's also not bad to get
crazy
these.
to say.
It is crazy. It is crazy to say. It's also not bad to have this much success when you're playing at home. Like I mentioned earlier, we're 8-3 at home. And like you said in your game recap on Wednesday, oh, how Charlotte is enjoying the home cooking. What is it about the Hive and at Spectrum Center that makes these guys really, really vibe on the court?
They have got tremendous support from this crowd. Non-stop. This crowd is in these games, is enjoying watching this brand of Charlotte Hornets basketball. You're seeing fans on their feet earlier in games, throughout the game. It's a much better atmosphere right now going on because fans know. I mean, if you're a fan out there and you look at the record, and we're telling you what the record is, why would you not want to get down to Spectrum Center? There's so many opportunities right now. It's ridiculous. 2 more home games, one tonight, one Sunday. Then we come back and we have a little bit of a homestand, including Muggsy Bogues night on December 14th against the New York Knicks.
Really looking forward to
followed by a
that.
game against some team from Los Angeles.
I think their colors are like yellow and purple or something like that.
Lebron's on their team, I heard. So I think that should be an interesting weekend. Next weekend, great games coming up, and this team really feeds off this home crowd. They enjoy putting on a show for the home crowd, and it's great to see that kind of interpersonal connections between the players and the fans on the courts, because they'll single out somebody and celebrate with them. Marvin's not afraid to scream his head off and then go up and give a fan a high five, or Kemba's not afraid to go up and hug a fan or whatever it might be. I love seeing that kind of interaction with the fans. This team loves the fans, and the fans love this team right now.
Hornets.com/schedule is where you can get your tickets. In case you haven't been to Spectrum Center, take a look at the highlights from Atlanta on Wednesday to see what you missed out on.
95. Lamb's got to do some work. Shot clock's down to 1. Lamb fires it up. Off the window and in!
Jeremy Lamb right here. Looks right up, sees the shot clock and says, okay, I got to make a play. And look at that, how far he was off balance.
Bump, wrap, around pass. Frank. Back to Bridges.
Screen roll, space out. Frank again. And then poor closeout, quick assist, and Miles between 2 defenders. You have to learn to lead your position while getting your team.
Oh my goodness! Took off from the free throw line. I love it. Cody Zeller. My word. Pass in close quarters, plucked away by the Hawks. Young, plucked away. Cody, another rejection. Number 2 tonight.
Blocked this and saved it, but look how far he hangs in the air. That was easy.
Brought on themselves. MKG rebound, brings it across himself. Miles Bridges! Oh, gorgeous end-to-end by MKG to find Miles.
Absolutely. Just look at this delivery by MKG, and Justin Anderson said, let me jump. No, I don't think I'm going to jump at that one.
Good defense. Bridges gets it back. Oh my goodness. Wow. You never see that in an NBA game. Wow. Dunk number 9 on the night for the Hornets.
Joining us now is Frank Kaminsky. Frank, this is the first time that I've been on the show with you. Thanks for being here.
Thanks. We can't stay solid, I'm sorry.
Are we going to keep rolling, or are we just want to start?
Just go with it.
All right, we'll roll with it. Roll with it. All right, so Frank, this is actually, you didn't have much playing time early on in the season. You said after the game on Wednesday that this is technically kind of your 5th game in the rotation. How has this been going for you?
It's been an up and down year. For me personally, but our team, I think we're starting to figure it out. Obviously, it was rough in the beginning, not playing. I love playing basketball. It's what kind of keeps me sane. But, I just started to do extra work on my own because I knew there would be an opportunity at some point. And that when that opportunity came, I had to be ready. I guess it's just going well.
Well, good. So, it's been, a month, maybe a month or 2 of you not playing. How has this changed you as a basketball player?
I think it's done a lot for me mentally. The last 3 years, I've been in the rotation, solid in the rotation. And this is the first time in my career I've been out of it. So it's like I said, it was tough, but no, I think it's done a lot for me because it's shown me really how to work and how to be a professional and how to keep my head through things because it's not always easy. Your head runs wild. You start thinking of different scenarios. You start stressing yourself out about little things. But when you bury yourself in your work and you rely on what you did over the summer and what you've done so far this season, it becomes a lot easier.
Aaron and I were talking about it earlier. In the last two press conferences, post-game press conferences from Coach Borrego, he's had great things to say about how you handled the situation. Mm-hmm. What does that mean to you when your coach comes out and has that to say about you?
It means a lot. Not every day was perfect for me. There were days where I was just really, really upset. And that's a lot of credit to the people around me, especially my parents and my family. I talk to them every day, and they tell me just to keep acting professional, keep doing things the right way. My dad always loves to say we raised you better than to be a bad person, and to put it in nice terms.
There we go.
So yeah, it's just easy when you have a good group of people around you that give you good advice, and then obviously the coaches too. Always telling me to stay ready. You never know what can happen. Old players, ex-teammates, everything. Just this league, a lot can change fast.
Yep.
So just being ready for whatever opportunity and having good people giving me good advice is what really helped.
What I've also liked to see is the support from your teammates. When you're out on that court and we see you starting to ball the way we know you can play again, how much these guys are getting into when you're hitting those threes and getting behind you like that. What does that say about this team as well?
It means a lot. That's probably the most rewarding part of the whole thing. It would be one thing if I was like a bad person and I felt like everybody quit on me. Mm-hmm. That would be one thing. But I know I got a whole locker room of guys that are pulling for everybody. And I know it's not just me. It's when everybody goes in and everybody starts playing well. Everybody's behind everybody, and that's what's going to take for us, to get to the next level. We know it starts with Kemba on the court, and what he can do and what he's been doing this season is pretty remarkable. But for the rest of us, it's got to be everybody picking up each other. It's got to be somebody, 2 or 3 guys stepping up every single game, everybody behind them, the bench bringing the energy. That's kind of our recipe for success this year.
Has there been anybody in particular inside the locker room that's given you any piece of particular advice moving forward with this?
Well, since I got here, I've always looked up to Marvin. Playing behind him for 3 years, playing both the same position, I was always looking for him for advice, and he's always been a guy that's, you guys know. You've been around Marvin for a long time.
We all love Marvin.
You all know how great he is and how good of a teammate he is and how much everybody on this team looks up to him. So he's really been one. My locker's been next to him for a couple years now. He's always been the one to give me advice and tell me when to keep my head up and don't let myself get too low and just stay with it. And on top of that, he works the hardest out of anybody, I think, on this team. And that's the example he really set for me was, how to get your work in, how to get into the weight room, what you need to do on the court every single day to be ready.
Great veteran leadership in Marvin. Now, when you're coming off the bench, the second unit that you have, it's kind of a new group of guys that you've been playing with. You have Tony, you have Miles. MKG is now coming off the bench. What has that been like for you?
It's been great. And Tony's leadership has been insane. Just the way he's able to coordinate what's happening out on the court, the way he sees things, his ability to run timeouts and things like that is pretty great. So especially the first couple games when I hadn't really been obviously playing much and didn't know much of, what we were trying to run out there or how people like to do things. He was really the one telling me what to do, just following his leadership. And MKG has been great. Obviously we missed him when he was out. Miles is picking it up quick. Dwayne and Malik have been, they've been some instant offense off the bench this year. So it's really been, like I said, it's a different guy every single game stepping up, and that's what it's going to take for us to be where we want to be.
Well, it seems like you've really elevated your game too, especially in how aggressive you've been. It seems like you're making the right decisions. You know when to pass the ball, when to shoot the ball. Do you feel like you're becoming more cognizant of that?
Do you have anything bad to say about
Not really. As of right now, I'm loving the way you're playing. And so are our fans.
I'm just trying to make the right play. I'm not trying to do too much. I got caught with doing that sometimes in the past, just trying to do too much. There's been times out there where I've made the wrong play. And I feel like this year, you know, having a guy like Tony to step up and be the vocal leader, like, hey, move the ball. Hey, you need to be doing this. It makes it a lot easier.
And just to, you know, continue to say great things about you. Frank Kaminsky as a defender is changing as well. I mean, and coach has brought that up. He's really impressed with how you're being aggressive on the defensive side of it.
That's something I really put an emphasis on this summer. You know, like I've always done in my basketball career, I don't like when people say I can't do something, and that's kind of been the thing that people say I'm bad at. So I kind of want to change the script and narrative on that one.
You're doing it.
Yeah.
I definitely
The
think
script
you're
has
doing it.
definitely been flipped.
Yep.
I got to keep doing it.
Well, Frank, we're now 8-3 at home. It seems like the crowd is absolutely loving you guys here on the court. What is it about this atmosphere that kind of brings you guys and hypes you guys up a little bit?
You know, well, when I think back to it, you know, the playoffs my rookie year, about how crazy this place was when we were making our run and then into the playoffs. You know, this city, Charlotte's ready for us to take off. And I think everyone's been anticipating it for a while. The last 2 years have been kind of a letdown, but I think this season's going to be the thing where we really change the narrative, flip the script on that one. And you can just tell that the hype around the team and the buzz in the city is high. So we're going to continue to do what we can to play our best at home, get it done on the road. But, you know, when we come here, this has got to be, you know, an advantage in our place, a loud crowd, a place other people don't really want to play.
We have a Western Conference team coming into town tonight with the Utah Jazz. How do we go 9-3 tonight?
You know, they got some guys that can really score. It's going to be all about what we've talked about the last couple games. It's about defending the paint. They're a team that can get into the lane and score. You know, they're big. You know, that's what they want to do. And if we can stop them from doing that and then play the way we've been playing on offense, I think we'll get it done.
All right. Frank, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
There's no way to close this one out. All right, we're going to go forward. We're going to finish with the 30th anniversary series about the 1988 Charlotte Hornets team. For Frank Kaminsky, Matt Rachinsky, I'm Erin Pitzenberger for Hornets.com.
With its first pick in the expansion draft, Charlotte selected Del Curry from the Cleveland Cavaliers.
The Charlotte Hornets select Rex Chapman of Kentucky.
We had so many different types of players on the team. You know, we had veterans, we had young guys, Kelly Trappukin, Kirk Rambis, you know, Earl Curtin, Robert Reed. You know, they was more or less in the latter part of their career. Then we had Rex Chapman, myself, Del Curry, you know, just coming in and being so young. But the way those guys really treated us and taught us about how to be professional was really was priceless.
Man, we kind of looked at each other. We know how to win. We know how to win. So the one thing we had to do was keep the young fellas' heads up.
We were kind of all in this together. You know, there were good moments and bad moments, but that's typical of any NBA franchise. You know, we were learning on the fly, but it was a lot of fun. You know, at the same time, you've got to have some pride. You've got to have personal pride. You got to have team pride.
I just remember the older guys telling us, because we would get so upset as younger players who were coming from really good programs in college, that we were going to lose. The older guys would say, "Hey, man, listen, you can't get so upset over this game and this loss. We have to play again tomorrow, and we have to." So that was the toughest part about it.
It was an array of different talent. Some guys like myself trying to make a name and a career. Some guys coming to the end of their career. Some guys right in the middle of it. So
it was probably a byproduct of who we were. We were all kind of role players on our respective teams, whether we came in free agency or through the expansion draft, and the rookies trying to make their mark in the league. But I think everybody had a good work ethic.
It was a cast of characters. Obviously, in that situation, you're getting guys from all over. And I think we all played up to it a little bit to some extent because it was such a fun environment. And personalities came out because they were so willing to see our personalities.
The personalities of the guys kind of fit with that community, you know, good solid work ethic, good people, good community, and they kind of bonded with us over that attitude.
We all came together, had something to prove. A lot of guys came together for the first time, and we were just hungry, wanting to, you know, do well, show everybody that they had made mistakes by releasing us from teams. And also, we didn't have any egos. Everybody just came in and meshed and played well together.
It was great. Doing everything from the beginning, ordering the very first uniforms, ordering the very first everything for the franchise. It was a lot of fun, but there was a lot of hard work too. You know, things weren't real smooth either at the time. We used a place called the Grady Cole Center to practice at, and you know, it was difficult because it wasn't a practice facility only. It was a building to use for other events. So we had to work around kind of some other things. It was a challenge.
I just remember, like, it resonates well, like small staff, you just chip in, you just do whatever you have to do. Some days you're on the floor, you know, being a dummy on the floor, the next day you're wiping the floor, or you're helping build locker rooms, you're trying to facilitate a small training room and an equipment room. And I mean, it's fascinating to me to see the size and the scope of how small everything was at that point compared to what we see today.
One thing that stood out for me, one, you knew all the spots were open. There's a couple, you know, that Coach Harder probably had inked in as starting, but the playing time was wide open.
It was a big emphasis of Dick Harder, the coach, that we come into training camp, and rightfully so, in shape. So he put some mile times on us, and that was something that we were going to have to do to participate in camp and let everybody know we were in shape. So I spent a good part of the summer training, doing some interval training, working with a friend of mine to get my mile time, you know, as low as I could possibly get it.
Well, you know, training camp was a lot different than it is today. You know, if we didn't have a trash can in training camp, that wasn't training camp, because we knew someone was going to eventually wander over to that trash can.
Earl Curitan, who ran cross country in high school or college, he just took off like a rabbit. He's running around and he's just talking and laughing, and he's just so far out in front of everybody else that it was just a joke. So I don't even think he breathed hard through that entire mile, but he was pretty incredible to watch him run.
You know, it's like a combination of, you know, just being with the guys, you know, the road trips that we took together, the traveling, you know, all the things. And Dick Harder was like, he was pretty entertaining in the locker room. I mean, we all got great locker room stories about how Dick would come in and just wear us out, you know, in the locker room. I mean, he would say some things to us that, I mean, it hurt at the time, but we laughed, and I tell you, it was some funny stuff.
But the thing that stood out for me, the very first practice at the Grady Cole Center, I went up to shoot a floater in the lane. Kenny Fields pushes me in the chest. I used my hands and my arms, wrist to break my fall, and I ended up breaking my wrist. So I missed like the first 3 months of the season, and I'm like, what is going on here? But that was something that I remember, very first practice of the Hornets, I break my wrist.
I was joking with Dell Curry one day. We were in practice, I think, at Grady Cole Center downtown. We were practicing there. And Dell and I were joking, thinking, how many games are we going to win? You know, because we just saw us as a team that would probably take a lot of losses. And he said, man, I think we'll be lucky to win 12 games, seriously. And but, you know, we ended up winning 20, and that says something about our team and our staff and how everybody came together, you know.
You can often turn on each other when you don't win a lot of games. But we were a really tight-knit group because we said, hey, we're all in this together. We know, let's play hard. We're not going to win a lot of games, but the city has put their arms around us, and let's just play hard for our fans and see what happens.
I thought, you know, we're suddenly in the same league as Los Angeles and New York and Chicago. And I'd spent some time around pro teams, but I'd never covered a pro team before. So I was excited, and I knew initially in this market there'd be a lot of interest because, you know, this was our first major league team. And, but for the phenomenon that occurred, I had no idea, and I don't think anybody did.
If we can ever get this noise and this crowd and become a home court advantage, establish that home court advantage, it could be something special here. And they just, you know what, they deserve all the credit in the world. The fans, this city, nobody knew anything about Charlotte. People around the country, when we go to other cities, they're talking about, they don't know anything about Charlotte. But they put Charlotte on the map. And that was the most important thing. People knew who Charlotte was, and we established that first year a home court advantage.
But then to make it really stick is to see the attendance record, to lead the league or to be near the top. And, you know, I pretty much attended every game. And it was always amazing to me to see the number of folks that just started to bond with this team. It became Charlotte's team fully.
There were times though in that season though where we went on a long road trip. We lost a couple games before we left, went on a 6-game road trip, lost all of those games. We had lost 12 straight. And it was mid-March and we're coming back to Charlotte. And we're all wondering, oh my, how many people we're gonna have here tomorrow night. And the biggest surprise, the place was full. They wanted to make noise. They just had a blast.
I mean, that's why it was so easy to get up and go to that arena night in and night out to perform. I mean, even though we wasn't as talented, but just having that 6-man, that voice, and them screaming.
Everybody, that ticket was so hard to get, that ticket to go to games, and it was special. And people that were getting divorced, their season tickets would be in who got the rights to the season tickets in the divorce. I mean, it was a big thing.
The fervor for the team was incredible. Well, it's a basketball hotbed. I mean, we couldn't go anywhere. I mean, people recognized us everywhere we went, and we weren't very good.
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, we were kind of the stars of Charlotte at that time, so people recognized us wherever we went. Small community, small town.
The initial month, it was like we had won a championship. Every place we went, you walked in. I don't think I picked up a tab. I went to get a sandwich. Somebody, oh man, they're so excited. Oh, I got your sandwich. You know, I don't think I paid for a meal that first month.
Wherever we went in town, we didn't have to spend $1. You know, restaurants welcomed us to come and all that. Everybody just, you know, opened their arms to us. So it was a tremendous feeling. Those fans today, back then, I still have not seen any city fans top those.
It just let me know that the fans were going to be behind us, the community was going to be behind us, and it was going to be a great ride.
It was just that whole involvement of the community, accepting of you and wanting to be part of that first year, that first team.
You know, little did we know what kind of season that would become, but it was fantastic for me. It was a great experience. It was as good as experience you could ever have, losing 62 games. That's all I'll say. And that's a lot of games, but it was a lot of fun that first season.
From that moment on, you knew that we was in a special situation. I mean, here it is. We had a season where we won 20 games and we had a parade at the end of the season. And so it was a special time for the city of Charlotte.
At the end of the year, they decided, I don't know who did, the city or something, decided that they were going to have a parade.
Yeah, the parade was unique. Normally you see parades for, you know, teams that win championships. And here was a community wanting to throw a parade for a team that won 20 games.
Now, you have to understand, like, we knew we had not accomplished a lot to get a parade, but the city wanted to do it.
But I think it just showed how the community embraced the team. The players, I think, embraced it. It was a little weird to have a parade for a team that only won 20 games.
The fans were happy, and Carl Shear let them embrace us.
But it was fun. Robert Reed, I remember he was right up front and center at that parade.
This year we knocked on the door. Next year we're going to kick it in, you know. So we were all getting full of ourselves, you know.
We were like, oh, hold down, Robert. You know, it's only our second year. We're going to continue to climb and get better, but I don't know if we're going to kick the door in year 2.
And I kind of stole that from him, and I knew the fans wanted to hear that. We didn't want to settle on what we did this year.
It had been a great season, and the fans, when they came out and gave us that ticker tape parade, I thought, this is crazy. We won 20 games, you know, so imagine how it would be if we won 50, you know.
Look, truthfully, it was a little embarrassing because, you know, who am I? What, you know, the players I get, the coaches I get, the rest of us, I don't know. But, I mean, now that it's, you know, 30-plus years removed, hey, I got to be in a parade once. But that just shows you the enthusiasm.
But you know what? I got to ride on a car with the trainer, Terry Koffler, and it was probably one of the highlights of my life to ever be in a parade.
The fans really made it. Having a opening night with that type of ambiance, ending the season where we did, only winning 20 games, and you know they sent it off with a parade. It just lets you know how appreciated they was of us and showing the support, having a professional team in the city, and they never stopped.
I asked Del Curry years later, decades later, I said, did you know what you had? He said, I don't think any of us did, because that was a special group.